ancillary question, but the 94 overpass, are they putting the retaining walls in the same place? Are they widening it for the possible expansion of 94, do you know?
So Ryan, before I turn it over to him, so Ryan Epstein, he's my main man, 20 grand, love him to death. We work together, he really, you know, we call him our project manager, he always says that's not what I am, but he does, he gets it, he understands, and so he sits in a lot of those meetings with MDOT, so he'll be able to answer some of those technical questions, so Ryan.
So, you know, with our project going over the 94 bridge, streetcar bridge, at any point in time, the 94 expansion project goes through, and they have to do something on that bridge, the streetcar would not operate.
Mm-hmm.
So MDOT is advancing work on the bridge, were that project to occur. And basically what's happening is right now there are 3 center piers, and the two side center piers are going to be, it's basically one big pier in the middle. So were they to have expansion, they have room for it.
So is it, from actual bank to bank, is it going to be wider than it was before they started the project?
I don't necessarily know if it's going to be wider, but those 2 piers aren't going to be there, so they have the ability of more lanes.
Oh, travel. Right. So they're building it with the anticipation of possibly.
Possibly.
Okay.
And again, the only reason it's part of our project is because were they to do that at some point in time would be detrimental to our operations. During a startup, you know, and a startup is a critical time for us, and to have to close down, I mean, it just wouldn't work for them, especially the way they do the bridge. You close half the road, half our tracks on that side. I mean, it's not feasible.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that that we try to do is with the collaboration and coordination with different partners is how to avoid issues down the line, or how is it that different partners such as private utilities have said, hey, this is in our budget 10 years from now, but let's figure out how to move it up a little bit earlier in order for us to do it at the same time. Any other questions? Okay.
The light posts, and again, we're right in here, just past South of Warren, and it's our 90th anniversary year. And the street signs, you know, the banners that are on the street sign, and we wanted to do something. Are we going to be restricted if we did something around August or well, it could do it at any point, but is that going to be restricted because what's going to happen with light posts?
So what I'll do is Nicole will have to follow up with you. We actually, in our meeting today, we had a conversation about what is the temporary, because we are going to have to remove some light posts and replace them out. So when we do that, there's going to have to be some temporary light posts. So in that temporary, there may be some temporary, so we'll have to see the possibility of where that is and where we are. We don't really have a full schedule yet. Right now, we're working kind of in a 90-degree model, a 90-day model that we can look out as much as 90 days and see what's what. So we can see where we may be at that time, because it may be temporary lighting infrastructure that is up there and it may not have the actual hardware. Long term, as it relates to street pole banners, those will still be through the city and through the state as it relates to their permitting process.
So if we start dealing with them now about getting those banners up, I mean, what will they tell us? Will they tell us yes and then later say, oh, it's all got to come down, or what?
Yeah, so generally what happens when there are certain events or permits that are submitted to the city that is off of Woodward, they will submit it to us, to M1 Real. Say, like, so for example, special events is a perfect example. So, you know, Carmano's Walk, that is on Woodward, and so they know that they'll have to relocate for right now, and they'll look at, you know, what it looks like for next year, because we have some ability with our track that there's specialty track that we can actually stop the train and go back. So for certain special events, so like the Thanksgiving Day parade and some things like that, we can accommodate that. So in order for us to do construction for this year, those events come to us and say, hey, this is what we're looking at. What do you think we can do? We actually sit in on the special events meetings. We sit in the traffic engineering meetings where these are discussed, so that we can say, well, they may be able to do it, but let's look into it. And then we work with those entities to figure out what the timeline is. Now, the challenge is that a lot of times as an event planner or as a project committee, you want to know as far out in advance as possible. And that becomes our challenge. We are looking like a 90-day window. So we basically say, hey, this is where we may be, but there is no guarantee. And then from there, the special events and different projects have said, okay, we have enough time to wait, or some have said, well, we'll just go and do a different route, and then we'll look at next year. So we'll just work with you on that, and what will happen is, like I said, the city will essentially say, what does it look like along the corridor, and then we work with them and work with the third-party stakeholder that wants to have the event, or the street programs.
Let me say the team is not big, but as me as a facility, and I'm trying to accommodate my clients going forward, similar to what she's up against, and showing them the ways to be able to commute in between the facility and getting into the back streets and front streets, into the parking decks. By you only being in a 90-day window, I mean, is your department or is there anyone in your team, do we contact you guys to maybe help us out with maps and directions that we can be able to share that with our upcoming clients? Obviously, we won't be able to show them out further out, but at least up into that 90 days, I mean, is there someone that can help us out in showing that, okay, because like you said, certain streets will be closed off, certain side streets will be closed off, so the current maps that I have currently in play, obviously will not be in effect at that particular time.
Yeah, we can give, and Nicole and our team can give a high level of what that looks like, but from a specific MOT, it may change. And so that's the reason why we encourage all of the venues to really direct everyone to our link on the website. So when people are coming that day, they have real live as to this is what's what, because we update that consistently. So that's the main. But so yes, high level, absolutely. We can say, we'll be in this area, so that means, but again, as we've experienced through the corridor right now in Midtown, there were certain times when we thought Campbell was going to be open and Forest was going to be open, and then when they started digging, there was a DWSD issue. So now there has to be a design, a redesign, and now we got to reroute traffic. So, yeah, high level, absolutely. And as we get closer, then we'll be able to provide, more information. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Sweet. Okay, so you can, like I said, anyone can just fill out their